I'm Amanda Yamasaki. I'm a 7th-year grad student in the Panopoulos Lab. I'm originally from Pasadena, California, but I moved here from Illinois. I originally applied to Notre Dame because at the time that I applied, they were just starting their efforts to get into stem cell research. So they'd hired some new faculty and they'd recently opened the Harvard Cancer Research Institute. And so it seemed like a really good opportunity for me to get in on the ground floor of some new research that was being done and to maybe have a hand in shaping what it looked like moving forward. And so it's been really exciting to see how it's developed over the years that I've been here, to the point that there's now a Center for Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicine that does a lot of forward-facing efforts to publicize the kind of research that's being done and also helps fund student research and student travel to conferences around the country. I went to undergrad at Princeton and I worked in a breast cancer lab where I was looking for new cell surface markers that identified breast cancer stem cells in the hopes that we could find new targeted therapies that would affect only the cancer cells and not the normal cells in the tissue. I did a master's degree after that at Roosevelt in Schaumburg, Illinois, and I did a family study on looking at a particular estrogen receptor mutation and its co-occurrence with migraines actually in my own family. My research project spans a couple of different fields of study, so I'm interested in stem cells and cancer and blood development and kind of the intersection of all of those things. So I look at using stem cells to study both normal and disease state blood development in the hopes that if we can understand what goes wrong in the process of development that leads to blood diseases like leukemias, we can potentially find new target options for therapeutic development. I actually took a class in the Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering department that was really interesting. So it was a class on tissue engineering. So we spent a lot of it talking about new techniques in using polymers and like 3D printing processes to be able to build three-dimensional scaffolds to culture your cells in. To try and provide a more natural environment for them to grow in, right? So they're not just kind of stuck on a petri dish. And there's a lot of research that's showing that this could have really strong effects on how your cells actually behave and respond in culture. And so it was pretty far out of my wheelhouse, but really, really interesting and really exciting. I think one of the more exciting opportunities in terms of conferences that I've had while I've been at Notre Dame has actually been the opportunity to organize an entire conference. So I served as a student member of the organizing board for the Life Science Symposium, which was a broad biomedical conference that Notre Dame hosted a few years back. And it was a really exciting opportunity because the student members of the board actually got to choose the speakers who came in. And so we made personal connections with a lot of really prominent researchers in the fields that we were interested in, which turned out to be a really unique opportunity for me. I got to invite a researcher who actually has designed many of the protocols that I use for my own research. And so that personal connection helped get me in touch with members of his lab who were happy to provide me with more details and some unique tips and tricks that they discovered to help make the protocols work better. And so it actually helped really accelerate my own research. My primary interests have actually always been teaching. So that's really where I see myself after graduation. I'm actually in the process right now of wrapping up my degree, and so I'm on the job market currently looking at academic jobs at universities kind of across the country. One of the things I think that I've liked most about living here for grad school is that even though we're not a major city like Chicago, you can still get a lot of the benefits of living in a city like that because there's a theater here that brings in off-Broadway shows of the same kind that you would get in Chicago, and Notre Dame actually has a performing arts center that also brings in plenty of really big name or well-known acts. So I saw Kristen Chenoweth there last spring. I saw Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox there. And so I really don't feel like I've missed out on anything that I might have gotten in a larger city by living here to go to grad school instead.